Hi.
Hi, Adam. Thanks for being with us today. I was very curious as to being that you're basing the series off a timeless classic book for children. Were there certain elements of the book that were not negotiable and had to be part of the series?
Well, I mean, there's certainly elements that, in my view, needed to be in. I think the number one thing was, the lady that asked, "Do you like my hat?" It's the thing that when you mention this book to people, they always say, "Oh, right, do you like my hat?" So I felt like that needed to be in the show. But I also sort of approached it as I'd like to work in as much as I can from this book because there isn't a traditional storyline. So you're kind of looking at the book for clues of like what could this world be. And there's blimps in the book, and you don't really know why are there dogs playing tennis on top of blimps, but it makes sense and it feels right, so we put that in the show too. So you have blimps in the show and dogs play tennis on top of them. So really borrowed as much as I could from the book. But the hat lady was the number one must have, I would say.
I was wondering what would have been your biggest challenge into bringing Go Dog Go to life.
Yeah, I think, from the start, like the biggest challenge was, okay, you have this book, which is beloved by many, um, and it should be a show because it's a great world. It's got dogs and vehicles, but the original book, it's kind of nonsensical in some ways. It doesn't have traditional characters and plot lines. So I would say the biggest challenge was trying to figure out how to create something off of that really maintain the tone of the book and maintain some of the aspects of the book that kids have enjoyed over the years, but also understanding it has to be its own original thing. It has to function as a TV show. It has to have main characters, has to have relationships. So I think walking that line between being original but being true to the source material was probably the biggest challenge, but also a fun challenge. It was a good challenge.
This may be a very difficult question because sometimes it might feel like asking who your favorite child is. But do you have a favorite episode from the show, and why is that one your favorite?
Yeah, well, I don't think I quite have a favorite episode. What will happen is when we finish an episode, usually one of the last steps is a mix where we listen to all the sounds come together. And then I realized, wow, maybe that's my favorite episode. And then the next one comes along and I think, wait a minute, maybe that's our best episode. And I mean, that speaks to the team that we're working with and how they just find a way to make each one special and stand out. I have a soft spot for the very first one because it's where Tag and Scooch meet, and it also is the one that's closest to the book. So it's the one I worked on the longest because it's, as you're trying to develop the show, it's the pilot. So you work it and rework it and rework it. And I'm pleased with how it came out. So I guess I have a soft spot for that. I have a soft spot for the last episode of this season too, because without spoiling anything, Tags throughout the episodes is trying to become this a race cadet, which is a part of this racing organization. So it's fun to see that storyline tie itself up as well. But I like them all.
My last question is, I see that the show has a lot of teachings and valuable lessons for the children. There's also a lot of reaching for your goals. What do you hope the show inspires children and parents alike? Hopefully they're watching together. What do you hope the show inspires them?
Yeah, well, I hope maybe those two things together that you mentioned. Tag, has a very specific goal through a lot of these episodes that she wants to reach. But she's constantly learning along the way that it takes a village, it takes your community, it takes your teammates, and your friends. So I hope it gives kids a sense that, to be ambitious, to go for what you want, but realize you're doing it in a community, and you kind of can't do it without a dog lending a paw, so to speak, or helping out those that need it, because that theme runs through all the episodes, and yeah, so I hope that comes through, and the good feeling of that comes through.
It does. Thank you so much. Congratulations on a beautiful series. And we look
Yeah.
forward to season 2.
I really appreciate it. Thank you.